The budget presented to a joint session of the National Assembly earmarks 9.92 trillion naira for non-debt recurrent expenditure, 8.25 trillion naira for debt service, 8.7 trillion naira for capital expenditure, among others. Tinubu, in his address, said the nation's internal security architecture would be overhauled to enhance law enforcement capabilities with a view to safeguarding lives, property and investments across the country. Reacting to the budget presentation, the SDP chairman Alh Gabam said the budget is completely devoid of concrete mechanisms to revive the economy, create jobs, address the Kumato's manufacturing and productive sectors, human capital development, deficiencies, and depleting life expectancy of Nigerian citizens.
These things, they don't tally at all. And look at service, like you mentioned, debt service, 8.25 trillion. Capital expenditure, 8.7 trillion. The most interesting, look at the borrowing, 7.83 trillion. I don't know those who compute this budget for the president. And I wonder if the National Assembly have the capacity to dissect this budget properly and classify them properly in the overall national interest. What they need to know, that we are running on a country that is extremely very fragile. The poverty level have entered a state of emergency. And so once a country have gone through these stages of emergency, there's hunger, there's poverty, what's next? It's crisis. And then when there's crisis, the economy suffer more.
He said by adopting some of the indices, President Tinubu has further plunged the economy into the abyss, weakened the productive sector, wrecked the purchasing power of Nigerians and the capacity of youth to be creative, recognizing that it will be almost impossible for small and medium enterprises as well as startups to access capital under such a suffocating budget.
Unless government change their mentality from elitist budget, elitist economic policy, to deliberate physical policy development of the citizens of the country, there's nothing you can do about it. This poverty will continue unabated. The crisis will continue unabated. Even the lifting of the ban of goods that have been banned by Buhari regime will not change anything, because they are not going to use the foreign currency to import the goods.
Gabam said until the president is ready to take decisive action against some anti-people policies, the country is headed for the brink.
So I believe the president needs to retract a lot of things. He needs to go back into a fundamental retreat with actors that understand what it takes. I've always advised him, forget about partisanship. That era is gone. Deal with facts available to you. How do you solve the problem of Nigeria?
He lamented the dilapidated state of government schools in the country, calling on President Tinubu to revamp the education sector and save it from total collapse.
The worst part of it is that look at the educational sector. It has collapsed, almost collapsed completely. And the most miserable aspect of it, government have no program of scholarship for even science-based students. And then you have JAM that return revenue every year while the institutions are dying. People that are being taxed are dying, have no access to education. What kind of somersault policy is this?
In Abuja, Mariam Zakari, Liberty News.